begin selecting courses for next school year. This is not registration, so I encourage all parents to re-register their children for next school year with your middle school. And so even though if the course selection goes, these are requests, and this is how we do it. We basically get the request, and when we obtain your request from your sheet, then, okay. I think we can set it over, so it'll be fine, yeah. So what's going to end up happening is we're going to obtain all your requests, and then a master schedule is going to be created over the summer. Since ninth graders don't have priority in terms of the courses that are offered to our students, and you only have a limited selection of courses, you will be, so the course that you select may not be the course that you receive, but don't take it personally. Every attempt will be made to give you the course that you have selected. But again, it's based on the number of students in the class and how many students the other grades have selected the same class that you're interested in. High school is different because now we're tracking graduation requirements, so all the courses that you're enrolled in pass a particular category. We have language arts, which we require 4 credits, math 4 credits, science 3 credits, social studies 3 credits, and career technical education, we require 2 credits, fine arts 1 credit, world language, the same world language, we require 2 credits, 1.5 credits of PE, half credit of health, and anything above those 21 credits are considered general electives. And don't think that a core class, which is language arts, math, science, and social studies, can't be considered electives. If you exceeded the requirements for those sections, those will be converted into general electives, and I will go more into that in the next few slides. The graduation requirements are also located on your pink slip. So you should have a white sheet, and you should have a pink sheet. The pink sheet actually in the back of it should have the graduation requirements for DODEA. So even if your family is slated to PCS in the future before graduation, your child will be in a good position to meet the requirements at their next school because we use the ones from Virginia, and it's 26 credits, and it's one of the highest ones. But our kids are all in a good position as long as they pass all the classes to meet the requirements in their next state. The ones that have difficulty are the ones who come to our school, and we do have plans for students to meet those requirements. So if you look in the back of your pink sheet, we have the graduation requirements listed. So I need you to pay close attention. On the far left, we have the far left has the categories, and the ones in under it says minimum requirement, and below in that I guess what is that called? Under each one of those cells has the specific requirement needed. Now, from language arts, students will take 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and students in lower levels of ESL, the ESL teacher will determine whether an ESL class can count as a language arts class, and that would be for English second language learners. The next group, and again we're in the back of the pink sheet, we have students are required to take 1 credit of global studies, 1 credit of U.S. history, half a credit of U.S. government, and a half credit of a social studies elective, for a total of 3 credits. In math, students should progress from Algebra 1, Geometry, an additional course above the 400 level, and if you look on your course selection sheet, we have the course numbers listed next to it so you know if it's a 400 or above class or not. And then every student is going to be required to take Algebra 2. In science, it's a given all freshmen take biology. We do have biology, sophomore chemistry, and then your junior year you will take physics. World language, we require 2 years of world language in sequential order. So if you are already a Spanish speaker, it doesn't mean you have to start with level 1. You can move up to a higher level because those are the courses that we do have higher level Spanish courses. And we'll talk more about that when we get to that category. We have a section called Career Technical Education. 1.5 credits counts as a career technical education course, and this is for students who wishes to obtain a job skill or wants to explore an interest, a career field interest. And so that's what a CTE is. A half a credit has to be on a computer technology course or computer-based, and some of the courses count for both. It counts as a computer technology course, but it also counts as a CTE course offering just a regular CTE. We also require students to take PE, and we require 1.5 credits of PE. And in those actual categories, you cannot take lifetime sports twice. Those are only for students who take it for original credit only. We have fine arts, and then we have a health education requirement. So we require a grade point average of 2.0 or above to meet the standard diploma, and that will be for all the day schools, but many schools in the United States require a minimum of a 2.0 to meet graduation requirements. So you're going to need to keep track of your GPA and make sure that you are meeting that requirement. For an honors diploma, the students who graduate with honors, if they complete a total of 4 advanced placement courses, and we'll talk more about that, and earn a minimum of a 3.8 cumulative GPA, and then complete a half one of these credits and below. So this is something that you don't have to do. Don't feel like you have to meet all the requirements next year. This is meant to be completed in 4 years or 8 semesters. We will be using the older version of our 4-year plan. I know you all have been working on Choices 360, but I also keep a copy on my desktop of all your 4-year plans to keep track to make sure you're meeting graduation requirements. And how this is categorized is that it goes by grade level here. Then we have semester 1 and semester 2, and you will list all your courses here. And this is great for planning purposes because you don't know where you're going unless you have a plan. So look at this as a roadmap. And then as you complete every course, you will fill in these boxes. So the idea is to have all these boxes completed by the time you meet graduation, by the time you graduate from high school. And so this tool is actually great because it'll help you meet graduation requirements so that you can graduate from high school, but you should also use this tool to meet the minimum requirements for admission into college. So again, look at this as a roadmap, and you can begin actually exploring college options if this is something that you want to do in the future. If anything, I would recommend you all plan for college admission just so that you have options. And if you decide to join the military or enter straight into the workforce, you can do that, but you have more options if you are proactive and purposefully select your courses to meet the requirements for admission into a college, and I will show you that in the next couple of slides. Also, I forgot to tell you, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and type it in the chat box, and Ms. Magana, who is our counselor clerk, is here in the room with me, and she will let me know when there is a question so that I can answer it. So why a 4-year plan? You want to begin with researching post-secondary plans. Of course, this will all change. Getting into college is not a lottery. You have to purposely plan for this. It is not something that, you put your name in a hat, and then they pick the first 200 to get into that particular college. You have to meet the requirements for admission, and every college website will have an area where you can find what they are looking for. So this one happens to be Florida State. And you can begin aligning your transcript based on admissions to the school that you really want to attend that may have the highest requirements. So for here, you can see that the average admit into Florida State had 4.5 credits of English. Well, we only require 4 credits, and so you would need to enroll in another half credit to be a good applicant for that school. For math, we don't want you just to take the minimum of 4 credits that we require. They want you to take 5.5. Natural science, they want you to have 5. Social science, they want you to have 5, which is social studies. And look at this, world language, they want you to select a world language that you wouldn't mind taking 3.5 credits so that you could be admitted to college. So doing your research this summer is going to be key. And then looking at your plan with your family to decide what you need to do and what they have planned for your post-secondary plan. So begin doing your research while having fun this summer before you get into high school. The core classes, these are all your core classes, and this is what you're going to be looking for as you begin doing the college research, and you can do this using Choices 360. So there's a thing called AP courses, and these are advanced placement courses, and they can be considered college-level courses. They are rigorous, and colleges do want to see this. There is an AP exam for each course in May, and you have to score a 3, 4, or 5 to earn college credit, and each college will set their own requirements as to the type of score to provide you credit for a class at their school. Some of our home will not take anything lower than a 4, and the highest number is a 5. So students taking this course, it doesn't guarantee that you will receive college credit, but it does look good on your transcript that you took a rigorous course. That means a non-standard course and a college level course. These AP courses can also allow you to graduate with honors as long as you have a minimum of a 3.8 GPA. So you kind of have to look at the strength, that's what they call it, the strength of your transcript. Did you challenge yourself or did you take standard level courses? Now next year, you'll be able to take honors classes and you'll be able to take AP courses. But only select those if you are willing to do the work and go more in depth, because that's what you will cover, and the course will go a little bit faster than your standard classes. Now keep in mind as you're selecting courses is that coming into high school, there is a transitional period. There's a lot of extracurricular activities that you can be involved in. There's upperclassmen that, friends that you haven't seen in many years. Maybe when you were in 6th grade, you're friends with an 8th grader, and now they're going to be juniors. And so there's a lot of different things that happen when you come to high school. Teachers cannot grade you on your potential. They will grade you based on your productivity, and if you do not have the established study skills, I would recommend you wait another year. Just because you don't select an AP course next year doesn't mean you can't take one the following year. If you don't take an honors class this year, it doesn't mean you cannot take an honors class your sophomore year. It just means that all I'm asking really is that you be honest with your abilities and your capabilities and your willingness to do the work. Because, again, your transcript is going to count, and all the grades that you earn is going to be on a permanent official transcript to be submitted either to your future employers or to college or technical or vocational schools. So what we're going to go ahead and do, hopefully you all have something to write with. Again, this should be done individually. What is best for your friend may not be best for you. And not only that, you have to look at your schedule. What do you have going on after school? Do you have to babysit your younger siblings? Do you have a lot of chores? Be honest with yourself and your abilities because there are students who can easily get overwhelmed by taking way too many rigorous courses. So on the top left-hand side, you want to first of all make sure that you have your correct sheet. The pink sheet will go home with you to share with your parents. The signature box has been eliminated, so your parents can sign anywhere on the pink sheet. So right now, focus on completing the white sheet, and then we're going to transfer everything to the side onto the pink sheet so that the pink sheet will be turned in and be shared with your parents. And this video will also be available to your parents so that they can do what we discussed today. So for 9th grade, you have two choices, Language Arts 9 and World Literature 9 Honors. Again, the difference is that the honors class requires more work, more reading, and it moves at a faster pace than the standard Language Arts 9 class. If you feel like you can handle an honors class, go ahead and select Language Arts 9 Honors. However, if you do not make changes to your course selection sheet, your schedule, the first 10 days of the semester, you will need to remain in that course and receive the grade that you are earning until the end of the semester. So your options are Language Arts 9, Language Arts Honors 9, and even if you don't take honors next year because you need a little bit more of that transition period, you can take Language Arts 10 the following year if you would like. So go ahead and mark that on your selection sheet. So for math, I know that some of you are already taking Algebra 1 or are taking Geometry. If you are in a standard Math 8 class, go ahead and mark Algebra 1 as your course that you will be taking next year. You have to take all of them anyways. If you are in Algebra 1 or Geometry, you will take the next level course. Now, if you feel like your study habits aren't quite there yet and you're not doing well in Algebra 1, or you don't have the basic foundation to be successful to the next level class, it is okay to repeat Algebra 1 or Geometry before moving on to the next one. The only thing is that we will not continue to give you the credit that you earned in middle school for Algebra 1. What you will do is take, you will retake Algebra 1 or retake Geometry in high school, and that will be your credit. You will no longer receive the credit that you earned in middle school, although it will show on your high school transcript that you did take a rigorous course while you're in middle school. So be honest with yourself. Again, it's about your productivity and not your potential. So for science, everyone will take biology interested in a medical field, I highly suggest that on your 4-year plan, you consider taking almost all of the science classes that are available to you. We have students who max out on all of them so that they can be admitted into either a biology major, a chemistry major, a physics major, because they want to enter into the medical field. So that is just a suggestion if that is something that you are interested in doing in the future. Yes. Yes. Sure. So if you, that's a good question. If your child is taking pre-algebra, is usually the standard math 8 class anyways, then they should take algebra 1. Does that answer your question, Kent? Ms. Parker? Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. So under language arts, there's a category of social studies. So the Global Studies 1 counts as your world history requirement. So again, we have an advanced placement course, which could be a college credit for you, and it is AP Human Geography. I honestly want to make sure that you really do some self-exploration and find out your motivation, especially if you want to do sports, and look at how you're managing your time in the evenings, because this class goes by really quickly. And what I'm going to do is enter your AP Human Geography selection, and then I am going to take that list of all the students who wanted AP Human Geography and ask your current U.S. history teacher to recommend or not recommend you be in the class. Just because they do not recommend you to be in AP Human Geography doesn't mean that you will automatically be taken out. It means that your parents will have to sign an override form that says that you are not recommended for AP Human Geography, but you choose to continue being in AP Human Geography. And if you decide to come out, you cannot come out until right at second semester. And once you do come out, then that grade will not be weighted. So a weighted grade is, if you earn a B in Human Geography, it will count as an A. It will be calculated as an A. So there's 5 points when we're calculating an AP grade, or advanced placement grade, and a standard grade only has a 4-point scale. So if you earn a B in a regular standard class, you only receive 3 classes. If you earn a B in an AP class, that would be considered an A. Also, our honors classes, someone made a good point, thank you, it's not a weighted grade. So if you choose World Lit 9 honors, it is not a weighted grade. A B still counts as a B, but it will show to colleges that you took a rigorous course, and they will recalculate your grade point average anyways. So again, if you take AP Human Geography and you are not successful, you have to maintain and remain in that class until second semester, which could be self-defeating for a lot of students, especially if it's their lowest grade that they've ever received. And if you come out at second semester, it will not be a weighted grade. And AP Human Geography, to be honest, only counts as a half credit of a social studies elective. So if you look at your pink sheet, you still are required to take a social studies elective. It won't count as a required elective for world history. It will only count as a half credit of a social studies elective and a half credit as a general elective. So it is really up to you if you want to take this class. And if you decide to take this class, be ready to work because it moves quickly. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just trying to do it real. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay, Mr. Goldman, we will discuss that when we get there, if that's okay. Yes. So for world language, the only 2 world language or foreign language that we have at our store is Japanese and Spanish. And I am going to go ahead and move this on to Mr. Rehnquist. Mr. Rehnquist, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and send this over to you, and I will move your slides. Just tell me next.
Okay, guys, if I go pretty quick, so I'm going to ask you, so you consider taking Japanese at the high school. I have many reasons as to why you take Japanese at the high school. But go to next slide.
Okay.
Basically, you're in Japan, right? So this is the greatest place to learn Japanese, right? Next slide. Look at these kids in the back of these slides. These are people here, actually Japanese kids come out to high school, like 2 years high school exchange program. Something that hopefully you'll be able to have a chance to do if we get this COVID situation squared up in the near future. Just quick again, the doctor does. So, if you get Japanese babies here, obviously you're in Japan. You can not pay for the top of with an
Mr. Rehnquist, can I ask you a question? If a student is maybe native speaking Japanese, has Japanese skills, or speaks Japanese in their home, how would they determine what level that they should take? Yes. And so also another thing with Japanese that you may want to consider is even if you're PCSing, I would recommend still taking it. It would count probably as an elective. They probably won't have it at your next school. But at least you can take some of these skills and learn hiragana, and you go to a Japanese restaurant, you want to impress your date, and you read unagi, and they'll be like, whoa, that's pretty cool, right? Right, Mr. Rehnquist? The only thing is you probably won't be able to complete the 2 years, but it would still look like you came out of your comfort zone in terms of taking Japanese instead of taking Spanish. Nothing against Spanish, but it's a good language while you're here. Take something with you. Thank you, Mr. Rehnquist. All right. So go ahead and mark, if you're ready in a world language now, Japanese or Spanish, go ahead and mark. Hopefully the teachers, you kind of know, I think, that what level that you need to be placed in. And again, if you're not currently taking a world language because you just arrived after the beginning of the school year and it wasn't offered at your last school, then you can certainly jump up. But you want to make sure you at least have 2 years of the same foreign language. Even if you could jump straight into AP Japanese, you can take Japanese 4 and then take AP Japanese. So that is something that they can work with you on at the beginning of the school year. But that would also, just keep in mind, you will need to reshuffle your schedule as well. So at the beginning of the year, never fall in love with your schedule. Right. So the next level is PE. I highly recommend that students take all their PE and health requirements during the first 2 years of high school. So lifetime sports is a half credit. That means studies a semester, and then personal fitness is a semester-long course. So I would recommend going ahead and marking that off your sheet. The goal is to have 7 credits. So by now, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the PE, 1 credit is 6. However, if you can, which we're going to talk more about the awesome, amazing JROTC program that we have here, if you take 2 years at JROTC, we can count it as lifetime sports. So if you think you're going to take JROTC for 2 years, then half a credit of that is going to be considered lifetime sports. So you won't have to take the regular lifetime sports unless you want to. Actually, these PE courses really help with boosting grade point averages as long as you participate, attend class, and you dress out. So students needing a little more boost in their grade point average, go ahead and knock this out. And a lot of times, a lot of the students don't want to take it in the upper grades. How do I know that? Because students who transfer to junior high school during their junior and senior year and PE is not required at their former school are bummed because they have to take PE. Because their bodies are going to be changing, and so who wants to sweat and ruin their makeup when they're in the upper grades? So I would go ahead and knock these classes out. Yes. Yes, it will count. So if they took, yes, I can have bells ringing right now. Okay, so let me go back to the Japanese. So for Japanese, if you took 7th grade Japanese class level 1, and you're not taking one as an 8th grader now, it would be up to you to continue or to repeat it or switch your language. The Japanese 1 credit, once you receive the credit, you will keep the credit unless you repeat that class again, and it's a non-repeatable course. There are courses that you can repeat, like advanced band. You can repeat that over and over again, and we won't take away the credit. But if you retake Japanese 1 again or Spanish 1 again, then you cannot have the same credit for the same class twice. So if you're not in Japanese 1 and Spanish 1, and you feel like you can handle level 2, go ahead and indicate level 2. I hope that answers your question. So the question about PE, can someone please clarify the confusion? Okay. I see that you're confused about the breakdown, but can I hear more? Mr. Goldman? So it's going to take 2 years. That's 2 years. Okay. Mr. Goldman, you had a question about PE?
Yes, it's listed as a 0.5 and a 1.5 on the two.
No, yeah. No, so it is, so lifetime sports is only a half credit, and personal fitness is a half credit. So they will take one semester and the other one's a half semester. By the end of this, they can count how many credits. We want them to have 7 credits filled out on the course selection sheet. When a personal fitness is for themselves, it's going to be required anyway. But personal fitness is just mainly fitness for themselves, taking aerobics. Lifetime sports is working out with other people in a team sports atmosphere. So that they may do personal fitness, they may just run around the track, and then lifetime sports, they may do more organized sports. Does that help? Is there any more questions about that? Is there still confusion? Those are 2 different PE classes. And then the sophomore year, they will take health and a combination of PE and health in the PE activity nutrition. Okay, wonderful. So we have this category called career technical education. And students are required at minimum to take 2 credits by graduation, with half of those 2 credits being a computer-based course. And so the bottom parts of this, we have digital design pathway, national security pathway, video communications pathway, engineering tech pathway, business management pathway, with the credit next to it to tell you if it's a 1 credit class, it's a year-long class. If it's a half credit class, then it's just a semester, and we don't know where it's going to be on your schedule, whether it's going to be semester 1 or semester 2. We also have fine arts classes, and we require 1 credit by graduation. So by now, you filled out your language arts for 1 credit, math for 1 credit, science for 1 credit, social studies for 1 credit, your world language for 1 credit, and if you indicated on the PE, the category PE, 1 credit, that means you only have 1 credit left. So that's your allowance, you only have 1 credit left. You can choose based on the fine arts, visual arts, the fine arts music, the electives, which is just a general elective, or 1 credit worth of career technical education. So for instance, if you wanted a class called digital publishing under the digital design pathway, and you only wanted that, but you still wanted to get the visual arts, you can take that half credit or a half credit of fundamentals of art and combine that together as 1 credit. But the fine arts credit counts as a fine arts credit, and the career technical education course counts as that credit. So you can mix and match if you want to. Those that are an avid, that'll be a general elective. That will be then your 7th credit. We do not have for fine arts music, we do not have any intro to band. We do have guitar 1, and everyone should take guitar 1 if you're interested in it. You cannot jump into guitar 2 if you don't have previous guitar experience and cannot read music. However, with piano, we know that a lot of students take piano, and they're at different levels. So students can enroll in piano 1, and if you see piano 2 on your schedule, that means that it's available semester 2, but it doesn't mean that you need to have previous piano experience, if that makes sense. Because everyone's going to play at different levels. The only one that is based on sequencing is the guitar class for the fine arts. So for the bottom part, I'm going to turn this over to Jay Roxy, who will talk to you about the wonderful activities, events, and participation of things you can get involved in at Kaduna High School. I'm going to turn it over to Jay Roxy, people.
Hello, we'd like to, Everybody welcome. Today's podcast, we have a lot to offer you. I'm not going to talk as much as I can take a photo of what we have a lot to talk. So, good luck and just try that.
you guys, there's lots of opportunities at JROTC. We want everyone to be involved in something, rather completing volunteer hours, belonging to a sports athletic team, or any of the wonderful many clubs that we have available at Kaduna High School. But JROTC has lots of activities within their own organization and their own group, and it will look good on your high school transcript. And Aiden, you think I can get an invite to your military ball? He's left. All right, make sure I get my invite. Thank you. All right, you guys. So, again, if you choose JROTC and you plan to take 2 years at JROTC, and by the way, out of all the other career technical education groups, the JROTC group has a feeling of belonging, and you develop friendships, and I can tell, based on all the students I've had, who is in JROTC and who their friends are, because they are always together, they support one another, and they cheer each other on. So it's such a wonderful program. I highly recommend it. So if you choose JROTC for 1 credit, and what you can do, and you plan to possibly take JROTC for a second year, you can go ahead and erase your lifetime sports credit, and then pick another half credit either in the fine arts group or any of the ones under digital design or business management pathway. So feel free to do that. So one of the things that we have at all of our schools in Judea, we have something called a career technical education pathway. Again, these CTEs allow you to explore a career field, develop, okay, let me put this option and then share. Yeah, yes. Go ahead. Yes. Yes. So one of the things that the 4-year plan that we will talk about, I will talk about with all the students, is the option of taking whatever course you're interested in, following a particular pathway, but also junior and senior year, many of the students are taking lots of elective credits. So that is definitely available for the students to kind of do like culinary arts if that's something that they're interested in. If they're interested in taking more fine arts, if they're interested in journalism, they can take lots of credits. That's why we do the 4-year plan, this document, because they can put everything in place. If every student takes 7 classes and they pass all 7 classes, they can graduate with 28 credits. We only need 26. By the time they get to their senior year, like right now, most of my students are trying to earn their endorsement, and I'm going to talk to you more about that in just a second. But I know that your counselors have done such a wonderful job stressing a 4-year plan, creating a roadmap to get you where you need to be when you get to high school, after high school, to either get into college, to get into the military, to get you into to vocational technical school. But this only really gets you into completing high school. You decide how you want to take these classes and what these classes are going to do for you. So absolutely, students can take various classes if that's something that they're interested in, and they can plan to take certain classes, not take certain classes, and that's what they're going to do is use the 4-year plan to get them to where they're going. Okay, what's the other JROTC question? What was, say that again? If you take 2 years of JROTC and you still take lifetime sports, and sometimes students do like PE, and it's a real GPA booster. They really do. As long as you participate, you dress out, and do everything that they need you to do for PE and to get that in, it's really a good class to boost your GPA and keep it at a high level. But if you take lifetime sports, then that lifetime sports will count as lifetime sports, and then your 2 years of JROTC will count as 2 years of a career technical education. Actually, 1.5 credits, because you still need a half credit of a computer class. And the classes that count as a computer class are all your digital design pathways, your video communication pathways, your engineering pathways, and also spreadsheets under your business management pathway. Count as either CTE or the technology piece of it. But you have to make make sure you take that half credit of the technology piece. So if we're looking at pathways and endorsement, if you look at all the animals in the world are in a category, in a particular category. Like you have mammals, and animals that fall under there would be like a whale, falls under mammals. A reptile could be, a snake. So that's the same thing with different careers. Now, I know you guys have a strong program in your video comm class, and so with your video comm class, can you still hear me? Yes, I need to video, yeah, don't call. Sorry about that. I know you guys have a strong video comm class. Am I back in? Oh, it's okay, you don't need to see me. Okay. So the video comm class, I know Mr. Feynman works with you in, can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now? Yes, okay. Oh, thank you. Someone tried to call me. I'm trying to use my iPhone at the same time. Okay, so I know you guys have a strong video communication type class with Mr. Feynman at the middle school, and a lot of what you're going to learn is video communication one material already. Honestly, I would recommend, if this is something you really truly like, I would recommend you continue to take video communication one, because our teacher is amazing, and he will give you the material and differentiate your learning, especially if you have those skills already and you are very eager. So if you complete VideoComm 1, 2, and 3, you can earn an endorsement in AV Tech and Film. If you take Management Foundation, Marketing and Entrepreneurship, Business and Personal Finance, Spreadsheet, and Business Law, you can earn a business management endorsement. And what this does for you is it allows you, again, to have job skills, lets you explore a different major or something that you may be interested in pursuing when you go to college, but you receive this endorsement on your transcript. This school year, we have 52 students who decided to really focus on their pathway, took every single class in in one of these categories, and actually have one that's been able to earn an endorsement in two areas. And so what they're going to do is, at graduation, where most of our cords, the students who have these cords that they wear around their neck at graduation, that signifies something that they've done extra. Usually it's an honors type of cord. Students who complete a CTE pathway have the option of wearing a teal-colored cord at graduation. Now, graduation, I know it seems like a long way, but the 4 years is going to go by really quickly. For instance, if a student takes Culinary 1A and then takes Culinary Arts 2B, what they can do is take the endorsement that they would have on the transcript, take their transcript to the Hilton Hotel, and after applying for a job, they don't have to start off as just a regular cook. They know how to julienne vegetables. They know how, all the techniques. They know what all the knives mean and how to use them. And so they may be a sous chef. And so this will also show colleges, if you wanted to go and major in culinary arts or the hospitality industry, the culinary arts endorsement will show that you're committed, you've already had that experience, and that the chances of you switching majors is going to be minimized. Now, the one thing I truly enjoy is our farm tech program that we offer at Kadena High School, and students can begin taking Health Science 1 beginning their sophomore year. So they would take 1 credit of Health Science, take 2 credits of the Pharmacy Tech class of Health Science 2, and then if they pass the exam that's usually offered towards the end of the year after they take the farm tech, they could be certified as a pharmacy tech and begin working for Echoes, Walgreens, Target, just any one of their pharmacies, helping the pharmacist out and filling medication. So not only are we looking at developing job skills, but receiving an endorsement so that it looks good on their transcript and they can go straight to work after they complete a particular pathway. So that's why you see under career technical education, all those different areas, we offer national security, video communication, engineering and tech, business management, and digital design, but students have to complete all of that. All of the courses, look at it as a menu, complete all the courses within that menu, and under programming, if you're interested in coding, Java, you can take all these courses. However, it's all done through our Dodea Virtual High School. Okay, was there a question? Yeah. Okay, so, Colin, I asked the second one. Okay, go ahead, go with the math question first. Can someone tell me more about the geometry and taking geometry online? I'm not certain what that means. Mr. McCoy? Like through the virtual high school? Yes. So yeah, as long as they're meeting that requirement and receive credit, then they can move on to Algebra 2, as long as they're being successful. Did I answer that correctly? Okay. So the next question is, can we take culinary arts as a freshman? You will see on this list, we did not put all the courses. Culinary arts is a very popular class for our students. So the chances for a freshman to be enrolled in that class, it's not going to be available because we have so many upperclassmen that request that course. Okay, so the IB program is not available at Kaduna High School. The only Dodea school that it's available in is Bahrain. And so I don't think this is a good format for it. Feel free to, I guess once school starts, schedule an appointment and we can discuss that, but we do not have IB programs at Kaduna High School. Kubasaki, no IB programs either. And then for printmaking is so printmaking is a newer course that we have, and basically what they do is, from my understanding, what they do is like stamping. You take one format and you transfer it to another format. So it's one of our art classes, but this is something new. I have not quite seen it, but it almost to me sounds like it's taking material like maybe this marker, dabbing it in some ink, and then taking it and putting it on another platform. And also, that's a good point, on the bottom right-hand corner, there is a QR code, and that can take you to course descriptions for any of these fine arts classes and the CTE courses as well. One thing I do want to mention as we're talking about dual options that we have in high school, beginning sophomore year, students may enroll in dual enrollment courses, and that will be discussed more in detail as we get in a year. We'll talk more about dual enrollment courses here. Freshmen are not eligible to take dual enrollment. So basically, it's students who enroll into a university of their choice. They pay for the class, and they receive college credit in conjunction with the high school credit, but it all has to be pre-approved. And your parents will receive a copy of this presentation along with the PowerPoint presentation as well. Now, again, we want students to be involved. We want you to have school spirit. The more involved you are in the school, the less likely you are to be in trouble. We do not have buses, so you will have to arrange transportation. But these are the sports and activities that we have. One thing I do want to express to you is this isn't like the youth center. So volleyball and cheerleading is very competitive as fall sports, and not everyone makes it. So if this is something you want to try out for, I would consider working out, hiring a coach if you need to, working out with some friends, and establishing those skills and those techniques, because, again, not everyone makes the team. Same thing with basketball. Basketball is a very competitive sport. If you've never played before, I would not, I would go ahead and begin training now, because not everyone makes the team. Those cuts can hurt and have a blow to self-esteem. But you'll pick yourself up and you'll pick a different sport. Then I wouldn't say give up. I would say keep working at it until you can make the team. But not everyone makes the team that they're trying out for. Yes. There is not currently a dance team or club. However, the kids of ours that do dance, they dance for Footloose or a Japanese dance program that you will find. However, that doesn't mean that we can never have dance. If you're a dancer, you need to let me know, because you and I can dance together. I love it. And so I like to do Just Dance with the kids in the student transition room. And so if that's something you like to do, let me know, because I need to pull you out when I need a little bit of a break. And we can dance together. But also, although we don't currently have it, it doesn't mean that you can't put in a request. Look for an interest, and Mr. Quartet will try to make that happen for you as long as you can find a sponsor. I hope that answers your question. Yes. Okay. So here are some of the clubs that we have available to you. A lot of it, as you can see, is J. Varsity programs, and we do have changed from year to year, and I am not quite sure which ones we have currently, but those were the most recent ones that we do have. And I think we do have like a Red Cross Club. We have this wonderful sewing club that Miss Costello runs after school. The ski gaming club, they compete. That sounds really cool. And then we've also had chess clubs as well. So you kind of have to look around, go in there with the mindset of getting involved. The more involved you are, the more you will enjoy school. And you get to meet other kids. And again, so if you don't have the same lunch as your friends, or you find yourself lonely, I got you. You got a student transition room that you can hang out with. Other new students that are new to do the high school, you will all be new. We're hoping that we have a program over the summer, we're not quite sure yet, that you can attend so that you can meet other new students, even if they're new to the island, or they're from RMS, or they'll be from LMS. But basically the whole freshman class, the class of 2026, will all be new to Kaduna High School. So don't feel like you're alone, even though you don't have your friends with you. We will find you some friends. Oh, go ahead. Uh-huh. So during the spring, it always depends on how many students each group or each sports team can take or accept. And so during the spring, there are tryouts and there could be clubs. It just depends on how many students try out. So, of course, they're always looking at skills because we are here to win. So, you will need to look at your technique and the skills and at least have a little bit of a foundation and you know the game a little bit. But there are some, like wrestling, there's a lot of kids who come in and just walk on and never have done any type of wrestling in their life. Golf, the same thing. They're willing to teach you. And it all just depends on how many kids are trying out. Does that answer your question? Yes. Yes, they do have a JV and varsity, but again, when they don't make varsity, which most kids, unless you're really good, a lot of the freshmen will play on JV the following year. There's an option, depending on your skills, to be moved up to varsity. And it's not just the skills, and I say that with the skills, it's also the attitude and the good sportsmanship. If you're willing to listen and be coached by the coaches, a lot of times they will consider that as well. So there's different factors that the coaches look at and when they do their tryouts. So if you don't, I would recommend, if you want to do varsity, try out for it, but also be open to trying out for JV as well, if that is an option. And for girls, even boys, if you can jump, if you have nice jumps and you're very flexible or have experience in tumbling, I think that would be easier to get into cheerleading even if you've never cheered before. The only thing is, I just want all of you can go ahead and come out and see, just make sure you have your physicals on file, get it done over the summer. They're always good for a year. And because you cannot do any type of conditioning without it, and we just never know the schedule of the hospital or if they'll do a mass physical. But at the same time, what you want to also do is make sure that you are open-minded. If you don't make the team, have a little bit of moxie and pick yourself up and work at it or pick a different sport. Yeah. So there was a question on digital media. Where we have digital imaging and digital publishing, those are more like Photoshop. For digital media, we work on the Adobe program. It's a lot of film and video editing. I hope that helps. But you can also look it up online by using the QR code at the very bottom. So again, for summary of what we need from you today, mark your choices on both copies. So you should have 7 credits. Pick some alternates. They should be in the fine arts, CPE, or elective courses. You should not have alternate courses that are part of the 4 classes. And so you should just pick those and make sure they equal 7. So we put the credits down on the side. You can add them all up and make sure you have 7. For fine arts, visual arts, if you want to take fundamentals of art, so that that's a requirement before you take sculpture, photography, computer art, or printmaking. Everyone has to take fundamental art before they can take any of the other visual arts. Okay, what was that last question? There was something that popped up. Angela says. Okay, that's a good question. National Junior Honor Society is only up until middle school. You would need to use a high school transcript with a minimum of a 3.5, and they want to see a bunch of volunteer hours. That's how some of our students during their sophomore year got that, because they were not involved in school, and they didn't have enough documented volunteer hours. You can get those volunteer hours by being involved meet other kids. Jay Rossi is a great program to develop and get those volunteer hours. Remember, one of the tenets for NHS or NJHS is being active and also engaging in volunteer work and community service. So if this is something you want to apply to, they want to see that you already have it. Despite it, you have the minimum 3.5 GPAs, and you have to have those letters of recommendation from your teachers as well. So one of the things I would recommend from day one, begin establishing a rapport with your teachers. Get to know them because you will one day need letters of recommendation from them, and one of the first letters of recommendation are for students who are applying for NHS. So then, we're going to collect the white sheets, put all the information on your white sheet, put it on your pink sheet, take the pink sheet home, share it with your parents. This video will get sent out to your parents along with the PowerPoint presentation, and bring it back to your language arts teacher who will give it to Miss Goya or Bishop school counselor, and then we will pick it up. I hope you did this presentation. I hope you had enough information. I hope your course selection sheets are correct. And this is not registration. This is only course request. Course request only does not guarantee you to be in a class. Thank you. Yeah.